seeing now, if you're watching the NBA playoffs, every team that's successful in the NBA playoffs does which of those styles? The first, pack the paint. Pack the paint. You think about the Lakers first. The reason why the Lakers are so good, they got Gasol, they got Bynum, they got Odom, they got the rim protected. Okay? The Chicago Bulls are the top defensive team in the league. They're the best team in the Eastern Conference because they protect their paint. Okay? That's also true in men's college basketball. If you look at Butler this year, and last year, one of the teams that's advanced farther than anyone's ever expected for a mid-major school. The thing they do best is they play together. 5 guys together protecting their basket, okay? The style that I grew up playing, which is more fun in a lot of ways, is a style that was made most famous by Dean Smith at North Carolina, and that is an aggressive style on the ball, trying to create turnovers, playing out in the passing lanes, not allowing a pass to be made if your player's one man removed. Now that's an entirely different style, and I think that style is often more effective with younger players. Okay, if you've got better players and you can go after another team and the other player's skill level isn't good, you can attack the ball, you can pressure, you can create a lot of turnovers and get offense off your defense. So those two distinct styles, I think, are ones as coaches you need to think about, and think about how you're going to fit what you want to do into one of those two style windows. And I'll tell you what I did this year with my team at UC Irvine. We were a pack the paint team, 5 guys against the ball. Obviously that starts in transition. But what I told my guys is we were going to spend all year trying to choose different ways and different situations to employ the other tactic, to try to attack and go after players. And some of the ways we did that, we called presses or traps after free throws or on dead ball situations. We looked every game for opportunities to double team in the low post if there was a player, and usually we went after the players that weren't as good. Some coaches like to double team players who were really good in the low post. This year, my philosophy was we were going to double the players who weren't used to getting doubled and try to use that as a way to create turnovers and create offense. So those are just a couple of the ideas about defensive philosophies that I wanted to share with you and see where this discussion took us. Can I open things up now for some questions, and then we'll come back and we'll talk a little bit about maybe offense a little bit later? Is there anybody who has questions? Yes, sir. Okay, his question was, if you're talking about 5 men against the ball as a defensive philosophy, how can you incorporate that into a zone? And I think that's a great question. A 2-3 zone is a typical defense that a lot of coaches want to employ. And so why don't we get my guys out here, my demonstrators out here, and I'll show a little bit about what we can do and some emphasis that you can make at any level. So let me have, how about this? If I can get my five of my blue shirts out here in a 2-3 zone defense, and I get the guys in the white shirts out here, and we'll demonstrate with them on offense. Okay? We got 4 white jerseys and my white jersey, and we got 5 guys in a blue jersey. So you guys come on out, and I'll take the ball up top right here. Okay. Yeah, let's have the white team on offense, and I'll talk about what I mean with 5 guys against the ball. So 2, 4, and I'll be the 5th guy. So you can have the ball right here. Now, one of the things that every good defensive team does, and I want you to hear this real clearly, is they learn to communicate. Okay, so if we're in a 2-3 zone and he has the ball, which one of you 2 guys would pick it up? All right, usually the top guy, but this is an interesting spot because this is a bump point. And what you've got to establish in your zone is right about here. This coverage could be the guard or it could be the forward. But right now you've got it. So your job is to get out here on the ball, and I don't want to talk about exactly what I would expect from you in a defensive position, but I'd want you down in a stance, at least one hand up on the ball, and the most important thing is that you're calling ball, ball, ball. Okay, so go ahead and do that. Let's hear it. Ball, ball, ball. Good. And one of the things you can work on with every team at every level is that fundamental every time. Call the ball. Okay, so your job, since you're the next guy removed, is probably going to be to get around the front of this, but your job is to talk to this teammate and let him know you're here, okay? Your job is the same thing. What we do with my team is we talk about this spot right here in front of the rim. We call this the nail spot. Does anybody know why we call it the nail? There's always a nail in a blue, yeah, there's always a nail right there at the center point. So we call this the nail, and this is a really important spot for every defense. You're at the nail, and your job would be to tell your teammate who's on the ball, nail, 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 all right? So you're talking help, 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 and you're talking nail, nail, nail. You're obviously at the rim, and your job is not to worry about either one of these two guys unless they cut to the basket, and you have to pick them up because you're furthest from the ball. And this guy needs to understand what I call the distance principle. The distance principle in everything, man or zone, is just this. The farther you are from the ball, the farther you can be from anybody you'd be guarding. Does that make sense? So if the ball's all the way over there, you can cheat clear into the lane, and that's why it now looks like there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 guys guarding the ball. So the distance principle is really important. The farther, all right, your men are from the ball, the farther you are from them, okay? So we're communicating, and we got the distance principle. You're calling ball, you're calling help, you're calling nail, you're at the rim, you're also in the paint. Now let's move the ball, wherever you want to put it. First thing that's got to happen, what do you got to do? And what else? Call the ball, 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 ball. Now this is an interesting one because you would probably come this way. You're not at the elbow, you're helping. Okay, you're gonna step up and reposition. Every time the ball moves, you move. The ball swings again. All right, this is a tough one. You gotta get up here and call the ball. All right, usually what's gonna happen in a 2-3 zone in this point is you're gonna chase it and bump him down. All right, so when you're running over here, he's got the ball. He's not gonna ever leave the ball until somebody comes and gets him. And in most 2-3 zones, what I like to call is bump. So you be coming here and you bump, 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 and you push him back into his position. Now where are you? Nail, nail, nail. Where are you now? Help, help, help. Any drive this way. You're still at the rim. Same thing for you with the distance principle. All right, let's put it down in the corner. See what happens. Ball, ball, ball. Okay, the stance he took is interesting. This is one way to do it in a 2-3 zone. He's forcing middle right there. And that's one of the things that you have to consider as a coach, whether you want to force guys middle, where there's help right here, or force baseline where there's help like right there. How do the Lakers do it? They always force baseline. Why do they always force baseline? Because they got Bynum, they got Gasol, they got great big guys. Well, if you don't have a great big guy, if your guards are better defenders than your big guys, you might want to force middle, okay? And in this case, you'd be all the way down here, and your job, I always say, make it look crowded. Your job, man or zone, if you're not guarding the ball, is to make it look crowded. Make the lane look crowded. Show him your numbers. Show him your chest, okay? Help him out by talking. The more your team talks, okay, the better coordinated you're going to be, the more energy you're going to have, all right, and the more the other team's going to feel like you're together. Let's skip it all the way across, okay? On a skip pass, what's got to happen? First thing, all right, anytime there's a forward coverage, this is a rule that we have in the zone. Anytime a forward is covering and it's skipped, all right, then that's a guard coverage. So you were up top, so you got that. What is the first thing you got to do? Ball, ball, ball. On that pass, on a skip pass, everyone should run. All right, you should sprint. So immediately on this catch, and this is good right here, because he can see numbers from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 guys. He sees numbers from all of them. So you attack the ball this way, almost to the elbow. All right, you're there. And my center's job in a 2-3 zone, what's your name? Sean. The center's job is the simplest one in a 2-3 zone, I think. The center's job is always to stay between the ball and the basket. Okay, so right now, you make this line, all right, you should be getting on the outside of this. Your job should be between the ball and the basket. So it's real easy to see that we're attacking the ball with pressure, and we got 5 guys in position, or 4 other guys in position, all right, to protect the basket. All right? Is that, my man who had the question, does that make, I mean, you know, that's real simple stuff, but creating that habit of communication for your team. Like if you've got 45 minutes to practice, you've got to figure out how you can get your guys talking all the time. Because you've been in the gym with your team. If you can't hear anything back and forth from your players, the energy's not good, you know, it's hard to feel like everybody's together. and thinking of different ways to do that as a coach is important. So anytime you're working on defense, get your guys calling ball. Get your guys calling the positions they are on in the floor to help, okay? And create that chatter. Everybody here has watched Duke play, right? Okay, one of the things, I used to coach at Wake Forest, we hated Duke. And while I was there, we happened to beat Duke 11 straight times. All right, so we knew them really well. And one of the things that defines Duke's team is every time, you guys probably know this, every time there's a dead ball, what does Duke's team do? They run over and they huddle up and they slap each other on the tail, and it's like it's fake. But it's enthusiasm that they generate, and they do it in practice every day. And they look for different ways to do that. And I give Mike Krzyzewski a tremendous credit for that, because his players all buy into that as part of their program. I mentioned to you that one of my influences early on as a young player and as a coach was Dean Smith at Carolina. He had a real simple rule of everything that he did in practice. And let me see the ball. I want you guys to do this. I want you guys on offense to do this, okay? And you guys on defense, I want you to do what we just talked about, okay? So I want you to call ball and I want you to call help. And I want you to listen to this and see if this sounds like what you'd like for your practice to sound. What's your name? What is it? Seth? Sub, okay. Sub, I'm Russ. So this is what I want to do with us right now. The Dean Smith rule in every practice situation, whether you're running layup drills or anything else, is if you're passing to a teammate, you call his name. Okay, so let's do that together. Sub. 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 Okay, so you guys in white, as you move the ball, I want to hear you call your teammates' names. Okay, you guys in blue, as the ball moves, I want you to pick up the ball and I want to hear you calling ball and talk in your help situation. Okay, here we go. Sub. Okay, hold up. Now, the most important thing, let's hold the ball for 1 second before you pass it, okay? Because I want to make sure that my guys are all calling ball on defense. Okay, you had them running pretty quickly right there. Let's hold the ball for 1 second. I give them a chance. And I know you guys aren't loose, but the main thing I'm looking for is not your movements as much as hearing you talk to one another. Okay, so call the name of the guy you're passing to loudly, call ball loudly, and let's get into position and talk about that loudly. Here we go. Good. 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 Oh, wait. My man, number 0. You got to call ball every time. Let's make yourself call ball. Now, what you'll see is that seems like a simple thing, right? But it's not simple, okay? And I'm not picking on you, but that's a habit that you've got to develop as a team, okay? Sounds like something that should be simple. It's not simple. Let's make sure we try to do it.